Everybody, we're going to go ahead and call the Senate Appropriations Committee to order. And today, before us, we've got the Department of Public Safety. Whenever you guys are ready, come on up. Nice to see you, Angie.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Members of the committee, I'm Sandy Karsten. I'm the Director for the Department of Public Safety. Joining me this morning are several leaders from DPS, and presenting the budget will be DPS Budget Director Angie Giddings, who I think you're familiar with. So, Angie, take it away.
Good morning. There's just a few new decision items in Book 1. First one is the pay plan on page 3, which includes the longevity pay for the Veterans Commission as a part of that new decision item. Then the next one is for the Director's Office. It's on page 174, entitled Critical Incident Stress Management. It's $500,000 from the opioid fund that you have heard about in Department of Mental Health to expand the program that currently exists in the budget. And then the next new decision item is with Capitol Police. Page 339 is one that is not recommended in House Bill 8, but is recommended in House Bill 20. It's for mobile and portable radios. It's a one-time expense, so it's been moved to House Bill 20. And then page 343 is cellular phones for the sworn officers. This is an ongoing cost. It's for the data plan. And you'll see a corresponding new decision item in the Highway Patrol. Those two entities did not have cellular phones. So that's it in Book 1. Book 2 is the Highway Patrol. Matt Broniak from the Patrol's budget unit will present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Eric Olson. I'm Superintendent of the Missouri State Highway Patrol. With me today is Captain Matt Broniak. He's the Director of our Budget and Procurement Division. I'll let Captain Broniak take over with a presentation of our proposed FY25 budget.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Again, my name is Captain Matt Broniak with the Budget Division, and we're going to start on page 356. This is a request to transfer 7 FTE from OA FMDC back to the patrol to streamline maintenance and repairs, and the governor has recommended it. The next item is page 362. This is the governor's recommendation for additional funding for the patrol's peer support program for personnel in regard to dealing with opioid-related emergencies. Page 375 is the request for fringe for new employees related to the patrol's expungement unit, which is being funded out of the Veterans Health and Community Reinvestment. Page 380 is the request for funding for fringe benefits for the FY25 governor recommended pay plan. Page 434 is a request for required maintenance for the patrol aircraft. This was approved. This was recommended to the governor to be moved to House Bill 20 for ARPA funding. Page 440 is a request for additional funding for MOSWIN due to increased costs. The governor recommended the same. On page 452 is the request for GR funding for the patrol's employees in DDCC, expense and equipment, and the governor recommended this through ARPA in House Bill 20. Page 458, the governor's recommendation is for an increase for the patrol's enforcement division related to fuel and travel related expenses. Page 476 is a request for the patrol to purchase 2 metal boats through a federal grant with a 25% match. This is a continuation of the patrol's boat replacement program. The governor's recommendation includes a reappropriation of 4 boats that were authorized in FY24, but we cannot take delivery of before the end of the fiscal year. They're still in process of being built. Page 498 is another governor recommendation to reappropriate funding from FY24 for an armored vehicle that we're replacing.
Senator Thompson-Raider.
Hello, can we go back to the crime labs?
Did I miss one?
On 504,
I'm sorry, what page, ma'am?
504, the crime labs.
504. Did I miss it? 504. Okay, I'm there. So let me get to it. I'm not there yet. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what changes have been done last year when, I've been kind of monitoring the crime lab issue that we've had with FTEs and the folks who do the CODIS data entry. Last year, we were told that some new hiring practices were going to be done and we were going to get more people in there. What spurred this was my 11-year-old niece's sexual assault kit was going to take 2 years to complete. And so I checked on this. I've checked on this periodically for the last, year. And a few months ago, when I got the last update on where we are with hiring to rectify and get these kits to where they're more current. I know we've been doing the backlog, but that has put our current ones are still taking forever. And when it takes 2 years for an 11-year-old sexual assault kit to come back, it makes a mother wonder why they put them through the exam. Not to mention how many other people is that man going to hurt in the meantime. So I'm not seeing any changes, and I'm just wondering, what is being done?
Specific, ma'am, to your question on hiring, we were given 2 additional FTE in fiscal year 24. They are in process of being hired. I don't know exactly the stage of that today. And you did mention 2 years. It doesn't, just as a point of clarification, of course, it doesn't take 2 years to actually hire them. It takes about that long to get them to a competency.
No, it was 2 years to get the rate kit process.
Yes, ma'am. And it also takes a couple of years to get a criminalist up to proficiency to work. We also took 2 technical positions and converted those to criminalist in order so that they could do that type of work as well. Now, specific to the backlog and the time frames, I don't have the exact number today of kits that are backlogged. I do know that we've had a very high percentage of those for less than a year. Probably close to 85% of those are backlogged less than a year. I do understand the sensitivity of the case, not just that one, but all of them. And we are doing the best we can with the resources we have to expedite those through. Tremendous amount of.
Well, and that's what, last year we were asking, how do we help? Because this is clearly an issue and we have to have, we understand that, so how do we help? And the gentleman that's over, the crime labs thought that he had it under control. And so if we're now a year later and we don't have it under control, what is it going to take? An 11-year-old's rape kit should not take 2 years.
I agree.
That's
with
the
you.
bottom line. And so how do we fix that? And I don't want to just go through the same questions again and then next year be having the same discussion, right? So can you get me updated numbers on the backlog, of course, but on how long it's taking current kits to be done and what our numbers are as far as people working in that position,
That discipline,
right?
yes.
That are doing that CODIS entry, because I understand that the FBI has rules and we've had to, they're just not anyone can do that entry, right? So I get I get the problem. I just don't know that the person in charge of fixing that problem cares.
We will get you the updated numbers and be glad to come by, and I will personally, and we can sit and talk further about this. It is certainly a priority for the agency.
I
And
appreciate
I
that.
can assure you that the leadership of the agency cares deeply about resolving these cases for the victims.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please proceed.
Okay, on 498, just to finish that, is the government recommendation to reappropriate funding for an armored vehicle that was supposed to be purchased in FY24. We're not sure if we can get delivery of that in time or not. Next will be on page 512. Is the patrol's request for 6 FTE in the crime lab in preparation for the new crime lab in 2026. The governor's recommendation was for 3 FTE. On page 518 is request for crime lab equipment. The governor recommended funding this through ARPA in House Bill 20. The next item will be page 556. Is a request for 8 FTE for the records expungement unit to process court orders due to the passage of Constitutional Amendment 14. The governor recommended funding, but not the FTE for this request. Page 563 is request to provide cellular telephones for sworn officers, as was already mentioned in the director's presentation.
Senator Crawford.
Could we back up for just a second on that expungement, the processing? Are we giving any money to the counties now to help go through that process, or is this simply at the state level?
The patrol is not, to my knowledge, giving money to counties to
So-
facilitate the process. No, ma'am.
Okay, so this is so how does this play into? I'm just trying to figure out all the pieces of that.
The expungement process, as it pertains to this request, those expungements are initiated by the court. And then the patrol, of course, is the central repository for the criminal records in the state of Missouri. So all of the courts in the state send those down to us. Then we go through them manually, review them.
So it starts at the county level and then it comes to you.
Right.
Got it. Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
Go back to page 464. Apparently I missed one on the specialized equipment. This was a governor's recommendation for a warranty for our MX908 devices that we have.
All right, so then we can move to Book 3, which has the remaining divisions. First up would be Alcohol, Tobacco Control. There's no governor-recommended new decision items. Next is Fire Safety. And page 647 is a new decision item that is also transferred to House Bill 20. Page 657 is to increase the Boiler Fund Appropriation Authority. That would be it for Fire Safety. Then we move to Veterans. And they're going to come up to the table.
Morning, Chairman, Senators. My name is Paul Kirchhoff. I'm the Director of the Missouri Veterans Commission. With me is Teresa Sherlock. She's our Budget Director, and I'll turn it over to her for presentation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Teresa Sherlock, Budget and Finance Director. Our first new decision item is on page 688. This is a request for cemetery equipment replacement. Our next new decision item is on page 695. This is contracting cemeteries groundskeeping. Our next new decision item is on page 706, Veterans Community Project at $1.5 million. On page 735 is a Veterans Homes Payroll Authority increase. And on page 748, this is a request for homes overtime increase. This was not recommended. On page 764, a home solvency transfer request of $24 million. The recommendation was $12 million. And our last new decision item is on page 770. This is a pay plan general revenue transfer to support the payroll increases. That concludes the Missouri Veterans Commission.
The next up is gaming. Their only new decision item goes along with the pay plan fringe benefits for the officers assigned to the boats. And their various transfers. And then the last division is SEMA. First new decision item recommended by the governor is on page 886. This is a federal grant that's become available. It'll help pay for some of the expenses for the MERC team. And then page 901 is Task Force 1. Governor recommended some general revenue for additional equipment for Task Force 1. And then page 907 is Task Force 1's expenses to attend a large-scale training exercise. And then last is page 935, the Ag Resiliency Fund. So this would be cash transfer if funds are not used in the governor's budget in House Bill 12. The cash at the end of the year would be transferred into this fund and then spent by SEMA. So we put the authority in for FY25, but then the first time it would be available to be used if cash is transferred would be FY26. That's it.
No.
Any questions for the Department of Public Safety from the committee? Nope. All right. Thank you. That will conclude the hearing on the Senate Appropriations Committee for today. Thanks, folks.
Yep. It can be done.